tonight in the red, our Zerg player from Finland, he is Serral. And his opponent in the upper left in the blue from South Korea. Make some noise for soO! So will we have an attempted deceptive play this time here from soO? soO is actually, I think in some sense, coming in here to try to end this game early on with that trickery. He got exposed.
Well, you said
by Serral scouting.
You said it, he overextended a little bit a few times as well. He did get exposed multiple times, and I feel like sometimes the players going up against Serral, they fall into this trap of, they see this guy who takes so many punches, he's so hard to knock out of the game, and they do overextend sometimes. You could see soO was like, hey, I've done damage, I've got to get more, I need more. This is Serral. You can't give him any space in this game, and sometimes players just get so focused on stopping Serral get to that unstoppable point in the game where he is perceived as just on another level entirely, that the players do sometimes overextend. And I mean, this is the way the series always plays out. It's almost always a player says, I'm going to try and trick you. I'm going to try and trick you again. Here's a curveball. Here's another one. And the moment they get an inch, they try to force it home. Maybe the right call is pull back at a few of those key moments, consolidate your advantage. Once Serral recognizes that you're committing this much, he will adapt and respond to it. You do have a bit more length in the game. You don't have to finish it right there. So I'd like to see soO being a little bit more patient with pushing those advantages.
I also wonder if there's a chance soO simply tries to win off finesse instead of deception. Maybe he tries to go for a Ling Bane early on. He's had a lot of success with basically every Zerg player in the past trying stuff like that as well.
Absolutely, he's a master of it. We aren't going to see Ling speed. There we go, does start up for soO just a few seconds after Serral. So indeed, definitely an option. One build order we've seen quite common on this map. Players try to do a big speedling pressure, rush across the map, and really just keep their opponent occupied, surprise them. And behind it, they cut the Baneling nest, they go straight up into Roaches, and they kind of sneak away without building those defensive Banelings. They still get up a quick third base. So that's a build order. soO, I mean, it matches his playstyle very well. Wouldn't be surprised if he pulls that out here.
Again, one thing we saw from Serral is just how good he is in positions where it looks like he's going to lose. A lot of times, Zerg versus Zerg, it's a matchup where if one thing bad happens, it tends to snowball. It's very easy if you lose one base to then lose several more, be unable to counterattack. But Serral bends reality when it comes to Zerg play in ways that we've just never seen before. Again, I don't know that soO can win this if he goes into a late game, so I'm waiting to see, are we going to have any of that kind of early tech or some kind of special timing attack?
I love the way you say that, Nick. I mean, bending reality, that really is, in this matchup especially, his ability to fight on 3-4 fronts at once without any major errors, it's incredible. And we saw it in that last game, Nidus Worms getting up inside his main base, and yet his crisis management, oh, it's so good. His ability to stay calm under pressure, so powerful. Serral goes in for that trademark scout once again. We call them Serral Zerglings for a reason. It's because they always find a way into the base and they always see everything that his opponent's up to. Yeah, this is a full scout. Now, even though there's no tech that would allow him to see what's happening, he also knows that there's no surprises in store for him early on. And so this scout has been very effective. soO wants to get rid of this as quickly as possible. Look at how long he keeps it alive.
Just how he manages to move this around. Now he's going to get a full scout here at the natural.
He sees everything.
He even, I believe, he even saw the Roach War in there. So he's just seeing everything. Now another attack in here to harass these workers. Right now, Serral very on top of everything in the early game.
And if Serral knows what's going on, he's got a good read on you. He's very powerful. It is going to be a bit of a mirror matchup. Serral already with just a small worker advantage, but neck and neck. Both players going into the Roach game from here. Lairs on the way, droning up the third bases. These Zerglings really just a very light harassment force, poking around, looking for information, just making sure that the other player hasn't really cut any big corners. Once again, Serral looking for the scouting lane. He sees how many drones there are on the third, and that allows him to read into how much his opponent's committing to army versus economy. Serral is constantly making these calculations. Notice this Ling as well. A lot of players let that go down. He pulls it out, sends it back in, pulls it out, sends it back in. Because of this, Serral is able to constantly keep track of his opponent's economy, and that's one of the most important things in Zerg vs. Zerg. In that last game, it was his opponent trying to cut a corner on the economy going up to Mutalisk. In this case, he sees that many drones, he knows it's just Roach versus Roach. It's a really standard game.
That's right. Once you come in and scout and you see that they've stopped making workers and are making more attacking units, then you know that things might start to heat up. And again, over here on the edges, soO continuing to come in with small, tiny little pokes to see if he can't thin out any of the defenses over here for Serral. But so far, Serral's been very on top of everything, using those queens to shoot down those banelings before they can connect to lings or drones to do damage. And now we've got the Spire on one side of the map. On the other side of the map here on soO's side, it's going to be the Nidus network.
Yeah, Serral has seen roaches popping out. He's just scouted the missing 6th gas geyser in soO's base. He knows that soO is massing roaches right now. soO is going to be going for a big Nidus roach attack. Serral was trying to be sneaky and go for the Spire. I think he's actually canceled the Spire.
Yeah, he canceled it. You're right. He immediately pulled out here. Both players are in a roach arms race right now. Now, soO's Nidus network is about to finish. The question is, where will he throw that down? Will that be in the main? Will it be on the edge of a base? The Nidus can be used to spring an attack where your opponent's not ready, or in this case, it looks like reinforce an attack on an exterior position that's in Serral's control.
This is a fearsome attack, Tasteless. We've got 2 spines, emergency response here from Serral. He's down 11 workers is soO, which means he's got way more roaches, and he's going to look to push in, but that defensive position, that's a wall. I don't know if you can push through that as soO.
Now there's a second Nidus network coming up here in the main, but already Serral is here to put that fire out. The Nidus is getting closer and closer to finishing. I think he just barely kills this. If
he gets the Overseer. He gets the Overseer.
Yeah.
Oh, but actually the Nidus Worm did go down on the low ground just before, but Lings and Roaches on it. Serral's emergency response, good as always. soO has not started building workers. He is trying to commit everything to this push. The Roaches rotating down to the left-hand side. He's going to try and push up that ramp.
Okay, so far, nothing soO has done has worked. Both of the Niduses in the main were shut down. The attack that was intended to topple the third base, they can't get an inch in there. Serral's defense so far airtight. Niduses are being thrown down more and more and more, but I don't see anything succeeding for at least a little bit.
Those spine crawlers is such a powerful anchor in this position. They add so much range damage here. Nice corrosive bile from soO, but that is a beautiful arc of Serral. Just more of his units all shooting at once. Every time soO pushes forward, he is walking into an arc of Zerg fire.
And there's just so much damage being received here from soO. The supplies are getting further and further apart as we see Serral continue to come out and pounce on top of the army of soO.
That is a beautiful engagement there by Serral. Just shuts it down. Every second that went by that Nidus Worm couldn't get up, soO was getting more and more desperate. He knew he needed to make this push work because Serral is about to get a huge upgrade advantage. His +2 is about to kick in. He's shut down the attack. He's been up 10 workers the whole time. Textbook defense by Serral.
And here we see Serral combing through the map to take out the remaining Niduses. soO, so far this has been a much more straightforward game. He even tries to counterattack, but a roach to block the entrance. Nothing is working here for soO. Serral now with a 50 supply lead.
Beautiful play here by Serral. That is it. He is so hard to break. His scouting so good. His Overseer found the Nidus early. He's managed to sneak out a spy. He's both got a better, higher tech Roach army, and he's got Mutalisk tech on the way. soO here going for his own Desperation Spire, and I tell you, Tasteless, when your Spire starts, when your opponent's Mutas are hitting the field, you are pretty much knocked out. You are in a very bad position. This is just such a clean game 2. It feels like a bit shaky game 1. Game 2, Serral has been in absolute control the entire time.
Yeah, I was hoping that we would see soO make the correct adjustments from the mistakes he made in game 1 and come back a better player, but it seems like it's actually Serral who is so on top of exactly how his opponent's playing. He's able to stop everything this time around. Now we have the Mutalisks coming out on the map here for Serral, and so there's nothing that soO can do to really contest this, at least for now. Roaches are going to have nothing they can do against Mutas, and so map control right now going to Serral.
Yeah, Serral's actually going to go for Baneling speed here as the follow-up as well. I do love to see that. He realizes that he's got the big economy advantage. Now he's got some Mutas in the sky that are going to pin soO back. And he says, you know what, how can I add to this position? Well, good chance you get forced into Hydralisks. I'm going to go speed Banelings to crush through that. Now, what Serral doesn't realize is soO, the madman that he is, realizes he needs a Hail Mary, and that's going to be Mutalisks of his own. He says, you know what, hopefully all your gas is going towards other things. I know you're not going to keep building Mutas. I'm actually going to bank up Mutas. He's going to hide them in the back of his base, try to get up to like 15, maybe even 20, and then come out and surprise Serral all at once. This is a huge gamble from soO, but it could pay off.
Now, if he does get more Mutalisks and then wins that fight, that will seesaw the game back into soO's favor. again, soO, relying on lack of intel over here for Serral. He does not seem to be comfortable trying to take Serral on in any mechanical fashion. Instead, he is ready to try to come in here and blindside him with a very abrupt tech switch. Now note, I believe he just saw one Mutalisk fly by.
Yep,
he should know.
Infestation Pit and Hydroden going down are going to unlock Infesta, Hydralisk, and possibly most importantly, Viper Tech. Serral here putting down Spore Crawlers. He's just got to cement his defenses. And I love the fact that soO here prolonging this situation in this game because he's so stuck on mass Mutatech though. If Serral can survive, look at that, takes out his own roaches to free up supply, replaces them with Hydralisk. Such a high IQ move there for Serral. Just realizing, as long as he hangs on, he's built a huge advantage. He's got the bank. He can afford sacrificing a few units. He's just going to avoid those Mutalisks finishing his economy off.
That's right, and so far he's really just handled everything pretty perfectly. By the way, soO is doubling down on the Mutalisk play, getting the air attack upgrade and continuing to make more mutas, but I worry. I feel like everything that soO's trying to do, Serral identifies in just enough time that Serral can engineer a response to it.
Exactly, and hey, he wants to sacrifice a bit of supply. Why not take a few drones with you? Gets in here, takes out a good handful of drones. Great focus fire there. He's going to take out 7 workers. A very good trade for Serral, who can replace that with Hydralisks. And I mean, at this point, Serral's bank not that big, but it doesn't need to be. He just needs to get out Vipers. He needs to get out enough Hydras. He's going for his +2 Carapace upgrade. I actually wouldn't mind a few more Spore Crawlers right now. Serral does not have both Hydra upgrades finished, and that is a lot of Mutalisks. I think just give up this 5th base, play it careful.
Good denial over there. Meanwhile, Serral actually counterattacking with his mutas, going for the Nidus Worm that's over on the other side of the map. Meanwhile, soO continuing to do more and more damage. Here comes a big Roach attack, but it looks like Serral has enough to hold this off over here as well.
Yeah, Serral's Hydra's going to go to fight the Mutalisk. Oh, soO not watching. He's going to take that engage. I'm not sure if that's the right call. The Roach is still on top, smashing soO's Roach force. 2 upgrade advantage there for Serral, and the Hydralisk in the main. They did not quite win the battle, but they've traded out, and there's only a handful of Mutalisks left. That was a costly trade for both players.
For a little bit, soO's supply was ahead, but it seems like this attack has slowly dwindled off. Another Nidus network is coming down. It seems like soO once more wants to look for some kind of opening where he can take another fight.
Well, isn't this awkward, Tasteless? He's actually said, I've got air dominance with the Mutas. Let's go back into Mass Roach. And Serral's actually like, hey, wait a second. I never lost my Mutalisk. I've got air control now. And this is forcing soO to reinvest even more in Mutalisks. Otherwise, he's got nothing that shoots up. Funnily enough as well, the Nidus Worm got sniped. soO's just saying, let's replace it. Let's rebuild it. You won't be expecting it because you took it out. And he's going to still just go for a gigantic Roach Assault when his mutas push back Serral.
Oh, we're going to have an unusual fight where nobody's going to be on creep for the time being in this Zerg versus Zerg. The mutas in a dogfight of their own over here in the center of the map. It does appear that is soO have just a little bit more? I believe he does, and so Serral's going to lose on that front. Now, Serral has more bases than soO, and therefore has more chances later on in this game, but if soO could pull off a good attack, and it seems like he might be able to get himself in that spot here soon, he could even things out.
Yeah, that Nidus Worm going to be the big play for soO. Remember, he's way behind on upgrades, but his +2 is going to be kicking in pretty soon. Unfortunately for him, Lurkers are hitting the field. Serral has Tunneling Claw Roaches, which are going to start burrowing into his opponent's base, popping up inside the worker lines and taking down his economy. He's got Adaptive Talent Lurkers, he's got Vipers. Serral has an epically powerful army right now. soO, he's struggling to defend against this push. The Blinding Clouds are going to be massive.
He comes down now. He's wedged himself in between the 3rd and the 4th base. We have soO's army trying to come in here for a surround, and that surround absolutely crushes through everything that Serral has as he retreats to lick his wounds.
Yeah, nice hold there by soO, flanking it from 2 sides. These Roaches taking a little bit of mess of the worker line, continuing to be annoying here, but soO has actually worked his way back into this game splendidly. He's been a little bit ahead on economy for a while, now about dead even. He's still got a few Mutalisks being a pain, but it is the tech advantage that stands strong. 5 base versus 4 base. Serral has a larger number of bases to mine from, and the Vipers and the Lurkers are the resource that you always have to fear. We've talked a lot about this series and how it's very much a game of don't let Serral get this army. Don't let him stabilize at this point of the game. And soO feels that pressure more than ever. He needs to surprise Serral here. He needs to break through.
By the way, it seems like we have a blind spot here in the defense of Serral. There was a Nidus network that is going to pop up. Great harpooning there to take those units out, but I guess this Nidus network is not going to be used at all. So once again, Serral's defense impenetrable.
Yeah, he's always reacting, even there when there's a blind spot that goes unnoticed. Look at this, Roaches come in, walk into a wall of Spine Crawlers and a Lurker. soO unable to find an opening. No weaknesses here. The Finnish player standing strong and just presenting a wall. I mean, soO is staying in the game. He's showing stamina. But you've just got to look at this and say, what's the late game play? What is the end game play? It really seems to be a big surprise. Nidus Worm, Serral a little bit slow to respond to that one.
And it does come out, and a second Nidus is coming in here as well to continue to reinforce as soO barrels into the main here of Serral. Serral is scrambling to try to get up his ramp and defend here, but again, that second Nidus is about to finish, which means there's going to be more units coming in or a clean retreat here from soO.
Yeah, Knights of Ducks on the Ravagers does take them out. Serral, though, has to move a lot of his army down here into the main base. He's got to quickly reposition to the north to make sure he defends his bases. At the same time, though, Serral, even when it seems like he's all purely defense, it's always that moment when he finds a way to slide a pack of roaches across and 10 workers going down. soO, not on that large of an economy. That's a lot of damage.
Yeah, great defense there by soO. soO still with the army that's trying to create the threat. Serral is really playing this in the long game. He's just trying to outlast soO. He knows right now, especially with Serral having more bases, by the way, he should be in good shape if he can just run the clock out, so to speak.
Yeah, these lurkers coming down from the left-hand side. Gonna try and wedge this army. A good blinding cloud goes down. A lot of lurkers get focused there. A bit of a messy engagement for both sides, but they were lower tier units that were getting traded out for soO, while Serral lost a lot of lurkers. So soO making the best of some very uncomfortable situations.
And now we're going to have Serral take out this last Nidus that's up here. I don't know that Serral wants to counterattack. We should note that soO actually has more minerals and gas banks. So when they're both maxed out, when the two armies collide into each other, soO can more quickly reset what he's already got and bring that back into the game.
And the Mutalisks continue to be a nuisance spotting for the Nidus Worms over here. I mean, he's just looking for Serral to get distracted enough that one of these pays off in a big way. But Serral is on the other side of the map, even puts down a harassment lurker after sniping that hatchery. And Serral's just so quick to respond. This big Roach army on the south side, though, looks like it wants to come in for a surprise swing. There are lurkers there, and there's no Overseer. It is a little bit behind the battle for soO. And soO's army might get cornered right now. Serral, I mean, he's just going to push onto the economy. Two of soO's most important bases are exposed. There's no units here to defend. It's Serral's turn to force the fight. soO knows he cannot match that army.